This exercise actually involves an emergency deployment readiness exercise as well. So on the front end, the units don't know that the alert's coming. And so they have to be ready when that call comes, which is good because they're all paying attention now. There have been two. They're all paying attention and they understand they might be the next one to get the call.
At Sierra Army Depot in the 4,000-foot elevation high desert of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, Army medical units have assembled after being given 5 days' notice that they are being evaluated on an Emergency Deployment Readiness Exercise, or EDRE. The 531st Hospital Center from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, was put on alert and instructed to pack their personal deployment gear and head out the door. They were to rendezvous with subordinate units to mobilize and establish a field hospital. The unit did not know their destination. All conditions were put in place for the event to simulate an actual deployment and allow the unit to exercise all the steps necessary to successfully provide critical medical support in a combat environment.
Folks don't get to practice their wartime mission. So when they can come out to the field and leave the phones and the email behind, and they can actually have injects that represent what they're going to see on the battlefield, it's priceless.
On this cold, dry, and dusty day in late October, the Fort Campbell Medical Warriors from the 586th Field Hospital, the 175th Surgical Detachment, the 41st Medical Detachment, and the 431st Intermediate Care Detachment set to work to construct a field hospital. As soon as the hospital was determined operational, Air Force C130 and C17 aircraft began to arrive at an adjacent airfield, and ground ambulances began delivering a constant stream of mannequins and live role players to the 148-bed facility. The injured who arrived via aircraft were from the simulated front line, located 500 miles south at the National Training Center, Fort Irwin, California. A smaller field hospital, the 115th, triaged the injured and arranged their movement to Sierra Army Depot. The 531st Hospital Center's mission included command and control of both locations and managing the flow of patients the 115th was sending them about 2 times a day via aircraft. Additionally, their mission required the further evacuation of more critical patients by aircraft to Brooks Army Medical Center at Fort Sam Houston, Texas. The 2-week-long exercise challenged the medical warriors with multiple events and scenarios led by observer coach trainers, special effects teams, known as the effects and enablers, and the exercise control staff. This support staff consisted of active duty units from the 44th Medical Brigade at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the Air Mobility Command, U.S. Transportation Command, and Army Reserve units from the Medical Readiness Training Command. Supporting and evaluating medical units' readiness is the primary mission of those who serve in the Army Reserve Medical Readiness Training Command, or MRTC. The command conducts similar exercises multiple times a year, but rarely with a short notice deployment that is specific to the EDRE. This model of exercise remains similar to the exercises like Global Medic, where the MRTC evaluates Army Reserve medical units at Fort Hunter Liggett, California, and Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, to assure that the Army Reserve maintains combat-ready and highly skilled soldiers required for America's Army to win the nation's wars. The Medical Readiness Training Command advised and oversaw many of the exercise control functions, as the 44th Medical Command supplied the observer coach trainers that interfaced with the training units. Colonel Benito Rodriguez, the exercise director, explains MRTC's 25-soldier mission to Sierra Army Depot.
The general purpose of ARMEDCOM and MRTC being out here for this exercise is to set the conditions to run the exercise for a level 3 EDRE event. This is critical because it allows us to really exercise everything in the speed of war, exercising the unit, the equipment, and really gain a lot of insights on how things are performing, translating to a lot of readiness.
The Surgeon General of the Army was on hand for this high-profile, FORSCOM-led mission EDRE. Lieutenant General R. Scott Dingle tells what happens when you strive to have authentic and remote exercise conditions.
In complex, austere environments, medics and entire teams are going to be expected to do more than just their individual tasks. And so you have a lot of cross-training that's going on that's phenomenal. and it's allowing the Army medicine team to provide reinforcing fires to other sections, whether if you're in the ICU or the ward or the pharmacy or the CMS. They're cross-training because this type of environment alludes to team building, but then this command also has a phenomenal command environment where they want to be a part of the team, and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Conducting deployment readiness exercises tests and proves the Army's expeditionary capabilities. It assures medical support is ready and available to support warfighters and save lives.
One of the most important words on the battlefield is the cry or the scream for medic. And what that means is that a soldier has been injured in combat, and that soldier or his battle buddy screams out the word medic. And when that word is screamed out, the warfighters are counting on Army medicine to be able to respond. That medic responds and does that initial assessment, that treatment, that stabilization to stop bleeding. Then that medic gets into the system that this exercise trains. They're evacuated successfully within the golden hour and lives are saved.
The attitudes, the tenacity, and the passion in this team and all of our teams, it's very evident when you come out here, and that's kind of what my takeaway is, that we are in a very good place in Army medicine in order to support the warfighter.
Reporting from Sierra Army Depot for Army Reserve Medical Command's Public Affairs Office, I'm Sergeant First Class Kenny Scott.